to welcome you a solemn occasion as we remember those leaders who shed their blood for this country, for the revolution. I welcome you, especially those of our cadres from the regions. Yesterday we held a meeting of our regional chairmen, regional coordinators, regional women coordinators, and regional young cadre coordinators. Those of you who are here, please rise up and let us acknowledge. We have them from all the way from Upper West to Lower East. So please let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. Now, during my closing remarks, I will read a communique that has been issued after our meeting. I beg all of you to stay and listen to that communique. I feel at home, this is our party office. We brought the party. We are the owners of the party. This is our house. This is our house. So nobody has the right to drive us out of this house. Thank you very much and welcome.
Comrades, let's do it better. And I believe you agree with me that the chairman of the UCM has said it all. So it shall never be reversed. Before I call upon the next speaker, please allow me to do a few more introductions. I told you there are lots, but you are doing it in practice. We have in our midst Honorable Professor Agyeman. He's a former regional minister who served both in the Upper East and Upper West,
Upper West and East.
Upper West and East. Oh, sorry. So Agyeman is there. The cameras are hiding him. Professor. Yes. He's there, yes. So let's give it to you. We also have in our midst our one and only Anita Isoso. Another strong leader. When we were reorganizing the leader corps this year, she was with us before she became the Deputy National Propaganda Secretary, through to National Women Organizer, and at the National Vice Chairperson, Comrade Anita Isoso. We also have in our midst Honorable Ni Ama Ashite. He was here. Okay, you know, he was a former MP for Poliproti and a former Greater Accra Minister. Comrades, we also have in our midst another serious comrade. He was the chairman, the central chairman for the PDCs at the time of this June19 episode. The central chairman of the PDCs. Later, he was promoted to become the district coordinator of the WDCs in the Ketu district in the Water region. Comrade Mrs. Gasson. It is at his doorstep that Jiwa and his people they don't think of he ended up getting some of our kids. There are a few more, but I don't want to bore you. So let's receive the next speaker in the person of Comrade Kofi Ato. I've introduced him already.
My left, they are not hearing me. I can't hear their response. Particularly those in the red beret. Yes. I have a very short duty to perform. I have to put the whole celebration into perspective. We are talking about June 1983. I know a lot of people who were not in uniform. And a lot of people who were living on a great revolution. No business, it was a Sunday. That day was a Sunday. So, I just want to put the history into a little perspective. Then we'll call one or two people who were actual witnesses. So, what the two things that we're doing here today is to tell the reason of June 19 and then later on the implication for where we have arrived at now as NDC. Anybody who doesn't know this history is nobody. If you don't know where you are coming from, then you certainly will not know where you are going. And anywhere you are going is like our life, because you don't know where you are going. So, okay. So, the revolution was on 31st December 1981. We ran through the whole of 1982. A very united team to begin with. But somewhere along the line, divisions tended to emerge. And that is true of all serious revolutions. There are all tendencies. The extreme left, the extreme right, the middle, so that every decision that we took to go to World Bank and an IMF for support was not accepted by some of our leaders. I had to start a serious revolution and we're looking for these international groups to support. When has IMF supported any group? So there were quite a number of divisions. And the divisions became a little serious. So some of our own comrades, young soldiers who were part of the revolution, had a few problems with the establishment. So they were arrested and locked up at Asiedu. You know Asiedu? Is it that way? Is it who? Okay, so that is why they were locked up. It was then a prison. And recently, both Russia and British forces were prisoners. Somehow, on the 19th of June, 1983, I can't remember exactly how long they were in the cell. I can't remember exactly how long. But on that Sunday morning, a few of them managed to overpower the prison guards. They overpowered them, took their guns from them, and hijacked the bus, which was really walking around somebody said Skywards. The bus which was really moving around the Ocean.
barely made announcement was Corporal Alibu Jua. Corporal Alibu Jua. There was America. I mean, our people are sitting here, we don't give us the names. So there was a lot of confusion. Can you imagine? The rumor started, then it went to the church and came back. That Rawlings was no longer in power. Then Mr. Banini and Co were on duty that day, and could tell us exactly their experience. So the revolutionary forces, the revolutionary forces at that time, Captain Courage Kwashikana, or the leader of the okay, so they organized themselves, got into a helicopter very well, and were shown that man. They landed at GBC to flash out these people. But you know what happened? These young men did not stay in GBC for free. What they did was to do a recording of the original speech and placed it in there and then left it. So by the time Agyeman the troops got in there was nobody. But the speech was still on there. And they went and flashed out the remnants of whoever was in there and then made a real broadcast to show that the revolutionary forces were still in charge. Now, when Agyeman and Co left the broadcasting house, they found themselves in Sukura. What's that Sukura? Yes, they found themselves in there. And when our cadets heard Kwashika's voice, that the proper revolutionary forces have taken over, and that GBC has been recaptured, they all came out. And then the rumor was that they were in Sukura. And cadets and went after his soldiers who were back. That's what we are celebrating here today. To be imbued with the revelation, to the extent that an leaders can go after those who were actually carrying arms. And as you were told, one of them was actually disarmed by an armed killer, a Faruda. Then the killers ran on them in Sura. He managed to shoot a Faruda. He died. I think Omrigadika also was injured. And because they had guns, they were shooting into the air and managed to escape from that. They actually went across the border to Burkina. Later on, they were all, a few of them were brought back. And I don't know exactly where they are. That's the one. I know they were doing salaries. Also a thing for the that's what happened. Later on, Rawlings himself went and landed in GBC. And I remember Joyce I very well. She was the information secretary. Those days we don't have this. And then he went and landed in GBC and the televisions. That time, there was only one television station. GBC, if you don't see that one, then Rawlings see television. At that time, I think it was good like that. Because the color came about 2 years later. But the courage and determination of killers, these were killers of hope. Can we have any such courage and determination among ourselves now? And people, the money are taken over. So I'm looking back to find out, am I going to die? If my children die? So We have declared this day just to recognize, like the first speaker said, Kedahood, or is it Kedashi, the commitment to a cause, the determination to defend the cause we believe in. And our cause now is all NDC. This is important. This month we have already celebrated June 4, which was the beginning of it all. Then we have just done June 10. That was when we had our interim certificate as NDC. Today we are doing June19, recognition of Kedahood, and like Shani said 2-3 days ago, cadets should not be defined by age. You should not say that if you are cadet, then you must be about 50 years, 65. So they are bringing out what we call young cadets, youth, that will teach them, let them know the history of Ghana, the history of NDC, the history of our party, the constitutional party. So that one day, if anybody comes up against the party, whether armed or unarmed, we should also be able to get up like the cadets of old and stand against them. That is how we are celebrating.
Thank you, Comrade Oviato. Please, let's be better. Cadets. The story is just beginning. And before I call the next speaker, I will be calling a few of those who were actually in action on that day to share their experiences with us. So before I call the next speaker, with your permission, I will introduce Chief Inspector Richard Chikata. He was also strongly in action on that day. From the police, he went and served in the 64 Battalion. And he was all around. We also have in our midst Comrade Emmanuel Kofi Ahiafo. He's also a Chief Inspector retired. He also action on that day. I've already introduced the chairman of the PDCs for that area, Sukra. So, ladies and gentlemen, comrades, with your permission, we have called upon Comrade Godwin Panini. Comrade Panini was working with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC. And in fact, he was on duty on that day. And it is on record that he stayed on duty because of this for about 36 hours. 36 hours of 3 days. Yes. He was on duty for 3 days. He didn't go home. All in the course of the revolution. So, Comrade Bonibani.
Cadets. Aluka. Aluka. Gate 1 is for the public and staff. Gate 2 for the staff alone. Gate 3 also for the staff. There's a substantive saying. At Gate 3, it is under the outcast. And they were doing maintenance. So you smell a rat, we smell a rat. So some of us get off and be necessary action by informing those women that we saw something strange. We stay over for the meetings. We have a zero room there, so it's vacant. We the NDC members. Suddenly pass, nothing happened. But we were late. We the NDC members were late. Then Sunday morning, it was 6:30 to 7. Gate 3 is near to Cancer. So we saw some people in tongues entering from that way. We did to the south end. Then we went on that were coming to call Chelsea. Normally they do their arms and they announce their product. So they went to that time have use it. That's what we do in the products. And then they make the announcement and the product. So when around 6 today, 11:20, results are action. Before that, when you did the recording, really you have to be playing national music. You are playing interceding with highlight music. Fortunately for those answers, the late Oshina, he gives his initial series to work out, so you know the impact of the place. Doesn't make you results and actions at the age of the research to say, yeah, that's okay. Those who went for the ways. And then you think that the house. You are very tested. And the sound of singing. I'm also too when about it. I'm also too when about it. I'm not going to go. There were about 2 billion presidents following him and went to each city. That time, you and others left, and the recording was there. So when you came to UCP, they didn't know whether the troops were inside. So the first shot was, it was a glass door. They shot the glass door and broke wings to make an oval space in the daylight. And we saw as well in full lives. And we killed those innocent people. We thought the soldiers were the dissidents were there. So they captured the place and made the mistake. Then they see the place, nobody else was in it. Those who were in it, those were the people in it. Let them elect General Agyeman was there. We were discussing some issues all of a sudden. We saw that happening. By the time around the jump over that, we had moved and so I walked in our family, he was fully armed. The whole body was full of using an armor. So after the briefing, and we remained there. That time, the commander of the property was Captain Oblan. So the signal from there. So he didn't have to leave me for the then 6 o'clock. Before that, there was high game, but the secretary of original secretary. She came with a car. So it was the car, the single seat, that is personalized food. You see the car went for around Rawlings glass to get support. And that time it was about 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Everybody was tuned to the TV, watching the proceedings, the broadcast. And they were ready, according to them, said, if you will be in the council and prevent the position, they will do that. They were all senior officers for them. So after 8 o'clock, 9, one of us, the wife was pregnant. And he wanted to go there to see your wife. And we were on the police force going, when you meet the man at the police station, the soldiers were there, but they were in the other places. They ordered us, but we didn't hear. The sound was very faint, so I recognized. He said, we should call. They came and surrounded the police force. And when they did the pass, we went. When we settled, it was very important. Battlefield. And we passed the pastor and we went. When you went on the way, that time there was a place. Somebody was going to help to hold the line. The person ran away and left the room. And we had to put there. This is our place. The house. So when we came back, we went to the president's wife's place. Because he didn't hear from me, she was feeling like a children and killing herself. So we keep on in there. The president was live, praying and if you guys, that kind of blind was some farmers plus so we took it from there, brought it to broadcasting house. And it's great. For the when we did the whole work, there was Asiedu Nketia Dr.Zanetor. So indeed, that was what happened in June19 as a sort.
Thank you for recording Bani. This is a story from the horse's own mouth. He was there, seeking TV. So, comments, ladies and gentlemen, the story was this. So, on this note, I call upon Comrade Chief Inspector Agyeman to also give his version of the story.
I stand here as a survivor, but not a hero. I'm saying that I stand here as a survivor, but not a hero. I say, after I said the incident that happened to you, I was the person constantly my parents. So I read the signal on the day of the Commemoration. I was the coordinator for that meeting, for that program. What happened was that we were in this workshop. You are not the players of the doing preparation, people found. We listened to J.J. Rawlings. We gave us the power. That early morning, we went to the so we wanted to see us on and all the people went to hide because they were crushed, they were at America was at the same time. So they were able to go and release America at the same time. They were crushed and they came to hide at the Supra and unluckily for us, Paul knows the Paul. So Paul was telling him that Paul was able to take one down from the car. The minute you have to shoot. Before you can get there's a passion of the Agyeman. Paul who took the rifle to this fire. Luckily for the Agyeman process, I was just silent. Fire for what you do. I don't know what happened. I was going to run again. To Russian apparatus. When I drove to it was a different assist to I had the pen, so I went to something for them. I really and so just to listen to the event to grab after the guitar was there, taking it for me. Or the guitar was taking it for the police hospital. After the guitar, that's it. I know the channel for the news. So because of this, Kenyans doesn't know how to shoot. If one know how to shoot, or I feel to use grab the class, I can't see. Because of that led us to people's militia, so that Kenyans will not have to battle any voice was so hard. Rawlings, there were so many attacks on Rawlings. So we wanted the people to be armed or to defend themselves so that nothing can happen to them. Luckily, CDR came into existence and NDC for people to understand. The CDU, Committee for Development, CDU was militia or this CDU. So Kenyans through us, because of what they did that day, on 19th, our men or our parents said they would be concerned. And the power belongs to people. If you do not allow access to no one can do this, they will be forever. So if I'm alive today, I'm challenging our grassroots. If I really die at that time, if you give me well,
Thank you. Aluta. Aluta.
Promise, the story continues. So, on this note, may I humbly invite Brigadier General Daniel Ushu, a former commander of the City of Army, who was also in action on that day, to also give us another aspect of the story. These are all live survivors who saw the action feel.
Thank you very much. I'm coming on the heels of survivors. I was very interested in somebody said. I think when you look back to that date, I don't know how many people were born at that time. But I'm going to talk mostly about those who were there and a few things for us for the future. Comrades, seniors, and juniors, our peers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today, we gather not merely to recall a date in our history, but to reaffirm a duty, a solemn obligation to honor the gallant men and women who stood firm in the face of betrayal and chaos. June 19, 1983 marks more than an attempted coup d'etat. It is a line forever drawn in the sands of our revolutionary struggle. On that day, the enemies of the people, led by Corporal Carlos Ali Ujiwa and Sergeant Abdul Malik, the names that were mentioned, sought to roll back the hard-won gains of the June 4th uprising and the principles it enshrined, and that is probity, accountability, justice, and self-service. But the people would not be silenced. The revolution would not be reversed. The Ghana Armed Forces, alongside the United Kingdom's Front, born in the crucible of the revolution, rose with clarity, courage, and conviction. They knew that the blood of our martyrs and the hopes of our youth could not be destroyed on the altar of selfish ambition. In their vigilance and resistance, they defended not just a government, but a vision. A Ghana that says all is equal, not the privileged few. Comrades, ladies and gentlemen, the history of June 19, 1983 cannot be fully told without recounting the difficult socio-economic situation of that period that was exacerbated by famine due to economic situation of that period. And I don't know how many of us still remember the famine. And this was due to severe droughts and bushfires that severely diminished crop production, resulting in substantial losses in crops and livestock. The consequences were widespread malnutrition and extreme hunger. To make matters worse, Ghana was hit by very high inflation and the challenge of accommodating over 1 million Ghanaians expelled from Nigeria. It was in the midst of these happenings that some misguided members of the armed forces, guided by some selfish reactionary elements in and outside the country on November 23, 1982, succeeded in capturing for a while part of Gonda Barracks where I commanded, Lema Camp, in an attempt to overthrow the NDC regime. When the situation was returned to normal, several arrests were made, and this has been well recounted. And the suspects were put on trial. Some of the Jews managed to escape from prison on June 19, 1983, and took part in that attempted coup d'etat together with Sergeant Agyeman. There are other names that we don't intend to elaborate on, but the history is there for us to all. It is noteworthy that the coup came very close to overthrowing the ruling NDC, but for the prompt intervention of some gallant men and women and cadres, as has already been recounted, so I won't go back to that. Let us never forget the price we paid on that day. Let us remember those who stood between freedom and anarchy, those who refused to trade their uniforms and their conscience for threats. In their honor, we must continue the work of the revolution. The revolution is not just about carrying guns and weapons. It's in the mind. Today, we have to continue building institutions that are just, ensuring leadership that is accountable, and nurturing a citizenry that is empowered and patriotic. Comrades, ladies and gentlemen, United Kingdom Front has come a very long way since 1988 and has gone through even more difficult challenges through the days of the PNs, the first democratic government under President Rawlings, and the second democratic government of the NDC under President Agyeman that was continued by President Agyeman after the painful demise of our late President. The issue continued to remain relevant but played low-key heroes in the activities of the NDC under the first term of President Agyeman. Perhaps the most obvious changes, and that if you look around, you see, perhaps the most obvious changes seen in USF are the 18 members, majority of whom are battling with various ailments, and the dwindling numbers who are struggling to survive due to low sources of income. This has necessitated the urgent recruitment of young cadres nationwide. Nonetheless, the spirit of cadres has never been without. This is why the theme, Recounting Ghana, Reflections of June19, is appropriate. Going back to the theme, Recounting Ghana, Reflections of June19, the challenges of our current period reflect a different, but that needs to be dealt with. Now I explain very shortly. You will recall that the forward march of the revolution was truncated in January 2001 after the NDC and the President before were voted into power during the December 2000 elections. The people returned the NDC to power in 2009 under President Mills, whose value demands led to President Agyeman, then Vice President taking over to complete the uncompleted term of President Mills, and subsequently won power on his own account to continue the good work of President Mills. Unfortunately, the NDC lost power against the NDC and the President Nana, who promised the moon to Ghanaians before winning power. Over the past 8 years, our beloved nation has experienced setbacks, hardships that threaten our very future. Corruption has sapped our resources. Illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey, has devastated our environment, polluting our rivers and destroying our lands. Incidents of indiscipline, lawlessness, and impunity have eroded the very fabric of our society, and we can all see around us. Recounting Ghana would therefore require the resistance of all patriotic citizens against not just corruption and other negative behaviors, but against conforming to the status quo of the past 8 years. And that is very important. This is where the leaders who have always played a crucial role in supporting governments with patriotic zeal come in. On this occasion, therefore, we salute not only the gallant soldiers of June19, but also the cadres and patriotic citizens of Ghana who stood up on that day. Colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we commemorate June19, let it not be an event of the past, but a call to vigilance and duty now and in the future. The struggle for justice and equity remains. Let us be very conscious that the enemies of the people have changed their tactics, but not their aims and objectives. It is up to us, the descendants of the revolution, to remain vigilant, steadfast, and principled. Fellow cadres, ladies and gentlemen, it is said that a nation that does not honor its heroes is not worth dying for. A lot of cadres have sacrificed their lives for the nation without any form of recognition. There are still some who are alive that virtually abandoned with nowhere to turn to. I will start passing our honorable chairman here. He's the senior chairman. So on this auspicious occasion, as we celebrate another anniversary of June19, I would like to make a passionate appeal to the leadership of the great NDC party and the presidency to look inside and all around and identify such leaders as living heroes and recognize their contributions before they pass away. At least, they should enjoy some fruits before they die. Especially now that our beloved party is in power. Long live our Recounting party. Long live our great party NDC. Long live the Ghana forces. Long live the United Kingdom Front. Long live the ideals of the new force. And may we continue to honor the brave defenders of June19. Revolutionary greetings to all of us here. Thank you.
So, after hearing from those who are fully in action on that day, we continue with others who were at the background. So now is the turn of another senior committee who had also worked for the process from the beginning up to today. This is a moment that I have always admired from afar. And so without on much time, it is my single honor to invite Her Excellency, the Honorable Agyeman Dr.Zanetor. She was a very active member of the Defense Congress. And when I was in university, I did read this. But it is important to reflect what others have gone through. And once being another 31st December Women's Movement, I don't know how many people know, she was a very serious journalist that I always loved to read. Yes, she's like Ghanaian Times. And she was always promoting the ideals of the revolution. These were the people who told the story as was needed before she was appointed to Ghana NDC secretary. And so when the she was secretary. So with a round of applause, let's welcome Her Excellency Dr.Zanetor.
you very much, my brother. I think we need the sanitation excellency behind, because I'm just a governor. Good afternoon, everybody. Chairman General, senior cadets, senior cadets, media, people. I'm happy to be here this afternoon to share a few of my thoughts with all of us here. I want to start by remembering profoundly our late founder, President Rawlings, for giving me the opportunity to be a politician today. I also want to appreciate and thank my employees, whatever it is, for leading me and providing that leadership for some of us women to be able to stand in public today and speak. When I was coming here this afternoon from the church, I went through David's house, and the place was so quiet. It was so quiet, and the trees were overgrown. It's so restless. Senior colleagues, like I said, I have only a few thoughts to share. Somebody or a few speakers have alluded to the fact that cadets are the antecedents of the NDC we have today. And so we cannot do without them. We need to appreciate them, recognize them, and empower them to continue to live and empower the younger ones to carry on the mantle after them. Because to get to where we are today as a party has not been a joke at all. It took the sacrifice and the hard work of some of the colleagues we see today. Some of whom have very hard to get us to where we are today. So recognition and appreciation, Chairman General, is very important. I am happy that we are organizing this event to appreciate them. But I want to suggest that going forward, let's decentralize these activities to the districts, regions, so that people at the grassroots, in our constituencies, people at the grassroots can also have a feel of what we have done and what we want to do. And because resources, because the Kenya Fund lacks the resources to do that, I think the party should please find a way of sponsoring this. So we want to plead that such comrades be identified in the various communities and supported monthly with some token, at least to be able to provide communication. Because most of us who saw them in those days on their feet, going up and down, making all the sacrifice. When we see them today, I mean, it's something else. So please, let's not forget them in their old age. I also want to suggest that we do some mentoring. I think Brigadier General Michaud has alluded to that, and others also. Let us, the senior ones, identify willing young leaders and mentor them. I'm saying really because you cannot compare or force somebody who is not ready to be mentored. Especially
the women. We are in leadership to serve as role models for the younger ones. So if you agree, some of us are ready to mentor you. If you agree, and by mentoring, I'm not saying that every day, please send me moving. I will provide the guidance. I will teach you what to do. Even if it is not yourself, and you have daughters who you think should be mentored, we are ready. My sister is here. Sister Anita, she's here. And a few other ones, I saw some former MPs and former women organizers. We are ready to do it, provided the party supports us to do this kind of mentoring. I also want to suggest that some of our cadres, maybe because of age or maybe for one reason or the other, may not want to be employed in government offices. Such people should be identified and supported to grow their businesses. Hairdressers, thank you. Hairdressers, seamstresses, masons, artisans, and what have you. It takes just a little support to take the burden off them and also off the party. But if you don't help them, every time they see the seniors, they will come asking for help. So if you grow them, they will be independent and stand on their feet and look after their families. Finally, I want to say that this celebration should actually be an integral part of the party's this year. Because like I said, the cadres are the antecedents of this party. Without them, we don't have NDC. Yes. So, on this note, I want to thank you for the opportunity and hope that some of these proposals made will be taken very seriously by the party. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please, very much. Are you enjoying the program? Yes. The struggle continues unabated. And we shall continue to struggle and struggle and struggle until there's no struggle. If you think you are victorious, we will still struggle for the better. I would have loved that the program continues till daybreak. But because of the importance that the Chairman General attaches to this program, he has left everything to come. He was here in the morning, we were not ready. He went for a program, but he insisted that he wants to be here. That's why he has to wait and call him and leave. So he has to go back to the program, and after that he's traveling. So we are compelled to embrace the program so as to make room for him to at least have his word with us. And then afterwards, we want to continue their work with them. So without much ado, with the permission of everybody, let's, with a rousing applause, receive the chairman general, Honorable Dr. Asiedu Nketia Like I told you before we started, Chairman General Asiedu Nketia is also a leader. He's a serious leader from scratch, and he works in the Sepa area. So it is a revolution that brought him to the Consultative Assembly that drafted the constitution that has been as peace and progress in this country. And we are going to learn that the Kenyan story too. So, Chairman General, welcome. And you are so.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Always, I'd like to say how happy I always am when we have an occasion together as cadets to remind ourselves what we have gone through and then to teach the younger ones the sacrifices that have been made to grow the process up to this stage. I am one person who believes in history because I believe that if you do not take lessons from your history, you are bound to repeat all the bad things that your forefathers have gone through. So there has been always debate as to why we should continue celebrating events related to the revolution. I have stood firm that it is because of the health of our democracy that we should continue to study what happened before the Fourth Republic, so that we can avoid the potholes that can take us back. So I always appeal to both those who are against the revolution and those who are for the revolution. It is equally in your interest that events of the revolution be commemorated so that many lessons which will take us forward. I have my own experiences of the events of June19. And not even that alone. There was even a much more serious one in September. I will leave to tell that story that day. But that September, I was caught in the crossfire. At some point, I was asked to put my hands up to the shot. But I also survived. So I've listened to the stories by all the survivors and senior cadets. And my faith in the establishment of a party museum has been renewed. When you listen to the stories that we are hearing today, you realize that they need to be recorded as early as possible before the eyewitnesses pass on to glory. So that we can keep these recordings and continue learning lessons from them. That was why on June 4th, I made an announcement that we are going to try to build a party museum so that we can keep all the records of the the party before the actual formation of the party from June 4th up to today. And that is one of the things that will help us to groom younger cadres. Because whatever we do, we want to pass. So we have to pass these lessons to the younger ones. And as has been said earlier by earlier speakers, that the leadership is not in age, it's not a who was where at a certain particular time. It is a spirit that needs to be nurtured. And that is why we are also passionate about Makati School. There is always some rivalry about whether we should have young leaders different from the youth wing of the party and so on. I think that if you organize very well, you realize that there shouldn't be any such element at all. If our training is very effective, we can catch up the younger ones, train them, and imbibe in them a spirit of patriotism and a spirit of sacrifice and the courage to live and die by your convictions. And then a spirit of accountability. So that by the time they grow, you can define a leader as somebody who is imbibed with these attributes. Whatever structure they find themselves in the proper party structure, doesn't matter. I said we are a national government. But I'm okay. Nothing take that thing away from you. There are a lot of people who are also leaders who function at various levels of the party. So if we focus on nurturing that spirit of leadership in our party youth, it will not matter where they find themselves. They will always speak and behave as leaders of the party. And we are not the only party that does that. In the older parties, in the older democracies, it is practice. When you go to UK, they have young labor, and they group people from the universities, from the other tertiary institutions, and group them to what the party stands for and so on. And when there is Congress, they are allowed space to also participate fully. So by the time they finish school, they are already prepared as leaders, as the next generation of leaders. So it can be done. It's done in China, it's done in South Africa with ANC and all major old parties in the older democracies. So it can be done. Before I proceed, I just want to add, I think the last part of the Jiwa story has not been told by anybody who came to speak. The last part of Jiwa's story happened in Northern Africa. And I can see some of our strong VA leaders who have traveled all along to join us on this video. You know, when the Jiwa attempt was foiled, some of them, I think Jiwa and Malik vanished. And there were stories about their appearances at certain places, and when they are seen, they vanish. They were considered to be so spiritually powerful.
So, as a country, we continue to be tormented by Jiwa, the ghost of Jiwa, Mali, and I think Suleiman or somewhere. Atakugas and the others. But the part of the story that ended from the half left was that, the government in Cote d'Ivoire at that time was so much against our revolution. And so the anti-revolutionary forces had very serious cooperation with the authorities in Cote d'Ivoire. So when the attempt here failed, they decided to penetrate through Cote d'Ivoire. Then on one fateful day, they came under the guise of Congo smugglers of Africa. They entered through Trouble